There's something peculiar happening in parking lots across America. The Tesla Model S owner doesn't just park and walk away. They pause. They look back. Sometimes twice, and that tells you almost everything you need to know about what's actually happening here. The Model S owner is not buying a car. They know that. Everyone around them knows that. What they're purchasing is membership in a vision of the future that they want to believe in so desperately that they're willing to forgive almost anything to stay inside it. And the data on this is genuinely fascinating in a way that challenges everything we thought we understood about consumer behavior. In 2020, J.D. Power ranked Tesla dead last in initial quality. 250 problems per 100 vehicles in the first 90 days. Worst in the industry. That same year, the same company measured owner satisfaction. Tesla scored 896, the highest of any brand tested. Porsche, known for obsessive engineering precision, came in second at 881. So you have the least reliable car producing the most satisfied customers. That shouldn't be possible. Every model we have about how satisfaction works says that quality drives loyalty. High quality equals happy customers. Poor quality equals complaints and returns. Tesla owners looked at that equation and completely ignored it. What separates the Model S buyer from almost every other car purchase is the decision calculus they're using. They're not evaluating panel gaps or service center wait times the way they would with a BMW or Mercedes. They're evaluating something closer to belief. Does this vehicle represent the future I want to live in? Does it align with my values? Does it make me feel like I'm part of something larger than a transaction? If yes, the door not closing flush becomes a minor inconvenience rather than a deal breaker. The median Model S owner is 53 years old with an annual income over $160,000. Male ownership sits at 73%. Credit score averages 740, the highest of any automotive brand, beating even Porsche. 88% own their homes. 1/3 hold either a master's degree or a PhD, compared to 13% of the general population. Engineers, operations managers, software developers. These are not impulsive people. These are not people who skip the research phase or make decisions based on aesthetics alone. And yet here they are, defending panel gaps on internet forums. The psychological profile that emerges is specific. This person values being early. Not first necessarily, but early enough that it still feels like discovery rather than adoption. They want a signal that they saw where things were going before it became obvious. They're comfortable with trade-offs if those trade-offs come with a narrative they can believe in. Progress requires sacrifice. The future isn't perfect yet. We're building something here. But there's a deeper layer beneath the environmental messaging and the technology enthusiasm. Something that explains why 80.5% of Tesla owners buy another Tesla when they return to market. Why 99% say they'd recommend it. Why the community behaves less like customers and more like evangelists. What's really happening psychologically goes beyond the car itself and into something much more interesting about identity, belonging, and what it means to choose a side. The Model S owner bought into a tribe. Not the kind that requires meetings or membership cards, but the kind where a knowing nod in a parking lot carries genuine weight. Tesla drivers report feeling a kinship with other owners that borders on conspiratorial. There's a shared understanding. We made the same choice. We saw the same future. We're on the same side of history. This is identity economics in its purest form. The purchase signals values to the world and reinforces those values back to the buyer every single time they walk to their car. I care about the environment. I embrace innovation. I'm not stuck in the past like those people still buying internal combustion engines. Whether any of this is objectively true becomes almost irrelevant. The belief structures the identity, and the identity justifies the belief. Consider what happens when that identity gets challenged. When someone points out the panel gaps or the service center horror stories, or the fact that the environmental math on lithium mining is more complicated than the marketing suggests. The response isn't proportional. It's defensive in a way that goes beyond product loyalty. Because you're not just criticizing their car. You're questioning their judgment, their values, their entire framework for understanding progress. Research on cognitive dissonance explains this perfectly. When faced with information that contradicts a decision we've already committed to, especially an expensive public decision, we don't revise our position. We fortify it. We find reasons why the criticism doesn't apply or doesn't matter. We reframe the flaws as acceptable trade-offs. The Tesla community has elevated this to an art form. But here's what makes the Model S psychology genuinely distinct from other aspirational purchases. The owner isn't just buying status. They're buying participation in something they believe will vindicate them historically. 20 years from now, when electric vehicles dominate and combustion engines are relics, they'll be able to say they were there early. They saw it coming. They put their money where their values were before it was safe or easy or mainstream. That future-facing orientation changes everything about how they experience ownership in the present. The inconveniences aren't bugs. They're proof of pioneering. The criticism isn't valid concern. It's resistance from people threatened by change. Over-the-air updates that fix problems weeks after purchase aren't evidence of rushing products to market. They're demonstrations of a company moving faster than traditional automakers could ever dream of moving. 85% of owners report high satisfaction with continuous software improvements. Translation: they've reframed post-purchase fixes as premium features, rather than corrections of things that should have worked correctly from day one. The Model S owner wanted to feel like they're directing the future, rather than reacting to it. They wanted the social signaling that comes with environmental consciousness, combined with the performance that says, "I didn't sacrifice anything to get here." They wanted membership in a movement that makes traditional luxury feel outdated and morally compromised. And Tesla gave them all of that wrapped in a package they could park in their driveway and charge like a smartphone. The car works because the psychology was understood first. The Model S owner isn't buying transportation. They're buying proof that they made the right bet on tomorrow. And every time someone questions that choice, every time a panel doesn't quite align or a service appointment runs 3 weeks late, they double down. Not because the car is perfect, but because admitting imperfection would require admitting they might have been wrong about which future they chose to believe in. That's not a car decision anymore. That's identity protection. And identity, unlike a vehicle, doesn't come with a return policy.